Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Hashtag Trending with me, Ali Reza. And today we're going to be examining prospects of the 2015 Iran nuclear deal being revived through the lens of social media. Stay with us. The fate of the once historic Iran nuclear deal hangs in the balance. Tehran says it won't return to the 2015 agreement unless Washington lifts all the sanctions it imposed following the withdrawal from the deal in May of 2018. After all, goodwill begets goodwill, am I right? Now let's check out what a senior security officer had told Press TV. He basically said that the only way for Tehran to return to its commitments under the JCPOA is for Washington to lift all the sanctions it imposed. If Washington fails to do that, he added, Tehran will only stray further away from its commitments under the JCPOA in the near future. If you look back at the events culminating in Iran finally scaling down its compliance to the terms of the JCPOA, you would not be surprised to see Tehran laying out specific conditions before it rejoins any sort of new talks or negotiations. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, am I right? Our first comment on YouTube comes from General Dealing. It reads, "This step-by-step is completely useless. Giving little and taking little, the US will only lift fake sanctions that never existed, like they did with the UN snapbacks arms embargo. That was only active according to the US when in fact it failed before the UN resolution. So what they did was just withdraw the useless application to the UN that is supposed to make Iran happy." And this is exactly the reason why Tehran is being a lot more cautious this time around and acting a lot more tentatively and taking more tentative steps. Our next comment comes from Carl J. It reads, "The US was the one to come out of the deal. If they want to come back, they need to lift all sanctions. Iran, do not accept any less than what you require." The US thinks they can always play all and any cards to any country they want. That's not the case with Iran. Those jerks in Washington need to put in their heads that they cannot go around and tell others what to do. America, you don't own the world, and certainly you are not the police of the world either. Let me juggle your memory a little bit. Despite Iran's full compliance with the terms of the JCPOA, the sanctions relief never really fully materialized. In fact, even worse, the US imposed even more sanctions after the May of 2018 when they pulled out of the deal. Our next comment on Twitter comes from Sanam Fida. It reads, "Well, it makes no odds that who is their leader or president. The thing is, America will always be the same. They talk about their interest only and their foreign policy is on point." Our next comment comes from Inayat Ali. It reads, "Iran has suffered a lot due to these restrictions. If the US is not coming to the table, then you need to go for the utmost atomic weapons and declare yourself an atomic power like Pakistan did. Then you will be regarded as a nation to be negotiated with respect." Well, that's just not going to happen for a very simple reason. As it has been reiterated time and again by Iran's leader, developing nuclear weapons is just forbidden under Islamic law. In fact, speaking of the Iran's leader, here's what he said just a couple days ago.
The only government that has used an A-bomb is the US administration. 220,000 people were massacred in one day. That's what the US has done. And then they have done this, and then they raised their voice and said that we're against proliferation of nukes. That's how things are. They're claiming that we stand in opposition to weapons of mass destruction. They're lying. This is the most lethal weapons they have at their disposal, and they have even used those weapons. And at the same time, they're saying we're against using weapons of mass destruction.
All right, and with that, we have reached the end of today's edition. Let's get back to the studio now. But that's been it for me on Hashtag Trending. I'll see you all next time.